What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 6 of the Two Young Pastors podcast. I am one half of your Two Young Pastors team, Jajuan Sanders, and I'm joined by my friend, my brother, my fellow pastor. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my
Hey,
friend.
Elijah Stanley, y'all. Welcome. Hey, Jajuan, it is December. It's cold. It's winter, man. The year
Yeah,
is coming to an end, bro. Like
sure
I
is.
was looking at the schedule, uh, the calendar, bro, and I was
Yeah,
like, yo, I can't believe the year is almost over, bro. Like
man.
I remember like the year being 2014. Me going into high school.
Hmm.
Like, I remember that
Yeah,
year, and in my mind, I'd never thought about 2025.
yeah,
I never
yeah.
thought that I never planned for the year 2025, if that makes sense, like, mentally.
Who does? Who does? Who does when you're that young? Well, some people probably do, but I
Probably
know I definitely did.
I
So I feel
didn't.
you. I know
Yeah,
you were. Were you a freshman? Were you a freshman that year in high school?
yeah, man, High Point High School. I
Yeah,
think they just had the 10th anniversary this year
true.
when we
Oh, did you
graduated.
go?
I didn't, man, it was during church. Um
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
supposed to be on a Friday night, but then it got switched to a Saturday, and then, like, church, like, I was like, "Alright." So, like, I saw, all the videos and stuff like that, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." But, yeah, man, it's been 10 years since high school. 10 years,
Dang,
bro.
man.
10 years.
Time flies. Time flies. One when you're having fun, and when you just got a lot on your plate. When you have a
Yeah,
lot on your plate, it
yeah,
just it seems to just escape you, man. So I definitely
yeah,
understand it, dude. I definitely do.
yeah.
But how you feeling today,
It's
man? How you feeling?
Better, bro, better. Just got back from PELC. For those of you that don't know what PELC is a Pastoral Evangelism Leadership Conference, PELC. And it's just kind of there for good preaching, good workshops, and to
Okay.
network and to kind of get to know each other and to kind of see old friends again too. So it happens over at Oakwood University, and it was an awesome
Hmm.
time, bro. Got to see some old friends. I got to go back and watch the worship sessions. But the
Yeah.
workshops were great, man. Learned a lot. I was in Dr. Jules. He's the South. No, he's a what union is Northwestern in again?
What union?
Yeah,
I
North
actually have. I actually don't know all the unions. I don't know the unions.
the
I
one
I
above us. Yeah, yeah,
I only know Columbia Union, to be honest. You
yeah.
know, that's the
Man,
only union.
I have
He's
no
work.
idea which union that he's the president of, but he's a great dude. And he did
Oh,
a
he's a
a
union president. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, he went from the Northeastern Conference president to the union president, and he did a workshop on the importance of succession planning. So
Mm,
making sure that you're planned for the future as a leader and you're getting a proper plan in place. And he did a great workshop, man. But he actually brought a lot of things to light too, of like a lot of things that we look at at Se succession planning, it's a hard word to say, man.
mm.
A lot of things that we look at it
Gotta
from
slow down. You gotta slow it down
a
a little bit. That's probably what you gotta do.
a lot of things from the secular world when you're probably right. A lot of things from the secular world that we look
Yeah.
at when it comes for planning and leadership transition, he's like, they might not work within the Adventist context. And he said,
That's
like,
true.
some of the ideas that we wanna put into planning for the future of our church, how leadership transition works, he was like, "Hey, like, it makes sense in an institution that does not function the way that we do in terms of voting and nominating and committees and things like that." And then someone asked the question, was like, "Hey, do you think we should just scrap the way that we do it right now and start all over with a way of like
Start all over. Wow.
voting, yeah, and like picking, like the president picks the person that takes over and stuff like that." And and I was just like,
the
Pause.
president picks.
Because the way that true planning works is that the president,
Oh,
person in the office, right?
I thought it was like board of
Groom.
directors. I thought it was like
So like
board, and
there's
like a typical Fortune 500 company. I thought like board of directors. I thought all of them have voices when it comes to who becomes the next
it,
CEO of
it
organization.
it depends on how the bylaws are set, right? Like the Starbucks CEO, like there are like stories of him, like he's no longer the CEO of the company, but
Yeah.
he somehow has the ability to go into meetings and make decisions and
Oh
fire
wow.
CEOs that have come after him. So like it just depends. So when they were talking about how our church functions, it's just
Mm,
like, hey, like there would be like a crop of leaders that are selected. And then one important thing that he brought up that I think was great is that he said, hey, if we have a plan in place, right,
yeah.
to pick leaders in our future, what happens when that's not the leader that God wants in that moment? Like, are we open in our planning? Are we open in our planning? Like no one picked David. David's own dad didn't pick David, right? So it's like what happens to our planning when it does not allow for the spirit's uh
But it's
influence in it.
But it's weird. Like even I think even like let's say how Saul got selected. It's weird, because Saul told Samuel who to look for, essentially. Like God didn't say, "Hey, y'all pick from among yourselves who it's gonna be." God gave Samuel,
A
his
direct.
prophet, like direction
Yeah.
on who to look for and what. So it's kind of sort of just like it's like a could there not have been another person? God. And let me stop. Let me
No,
let me like. So I get what they're saying, but to a certain extent, um, I understand the question of well, of what if who we're looking at is not the person that God is looking at. And I guess my response to that would be, well, how are we sure that who you're placing in certain positions right now are God ordained in the first place?
the part of that is that it goes through a nominating process of people picking the people on the committee that picks the
Yeah.
person, right? And then the
Hmm.
nominating committee then gives out names and then it's ratified by the constituents. So they're saying that process has more than enough space and gives space for the Holy Spirit to move and yeah, to like do to to move. I don't know what would you say was blasphemy, but like he like that space gives that process
Okay.
has given space in the past for the spirit to move. And I said,
I don't think I agree with that. I think that to a certain extent, how America works makes sense. You know, there are certain times where numbers are crucial. And if you're not producing numbers, you should probably move on. You know, I
mhm,
think that to a certain extent that makes sense, and I think that I've seen instances where certain leadership have stayed and they have not necessarily done good for their conference. They have held their conferences back,
yeah,
and if you're telling me, well, the good Lord, is working things out, then for me, it's kind of sort of just like a I don't know if we have the same Lord or if we have the same view, because I think that my Lord is a Lord who works things out so that if we are on the same page as Him, He gets work done. That's
yeah.
the type of Lord I serve.
But what about the phrase that we use in preaching? God does not call the qualified; He qualifies the called, right? Like the
I mean,
idea
I
that
mean,
you
I
don't
think we
have to
say
be
that.
fully fully trained, I guess, or fully equipped, that God equips us for the challenge on the way while we're in the challenge. I think I kind of said the best way I could say it right now.
I
Like
think we typically use that phraseology when we're talking about the story of Moses. You
mhm,
know, when we see that some individuals might be dealing with imposter syndrome, when you're questioning, do I deserve to be here? And I mean, like unless like what you're doing,
mhm,
you do not have the certification to do,
yeah,
or you have not completed prerequisite work to do, you are certainly qualified. Like, Moses, for all intents and purposes, um, he spent 40 years in Egypt. All
mhm,
right, he spent 40 years not only in Egypt, but he spent it in Pharaoh's house, uh, and he learned from some of the best teachers, some of the brightest military, um, what's the word, tacticians,
yeah,
um, possibly learned finance from some of the greatest merchants and treasurers. And so, like, he had knowledge on these things, bro. And then he spent 40 years in the wilderness being a shepherd. He
mhm,
spent 40 years in the wilderness being a shepherd. And what did Moses end up doing after those 40 years? Instead of shepherding lambs, he shepherded God's people, which are
yeah,
lambs. Like he literally qualified. He gave Moses like the skills, and he had the experience to learn how to work with people.
mhm,
Let's not make it um something out of the blue, out of
yeah,
like something, I guess, miraculous.
yeah,
It wasn't like one day he was a terrible leader, and then the next day, God shined on him, and out of nowhere, he became a better leader. No, his
no,
experiences over time, like, added up, and gave him wisdom so that he could properly lead the people of God.
yeah,
And it was really his connection to God. Because let's be honest, like the difference between Moses and, let's say, us pastors today is we're not hearing directly from God in the same way that Moses was hearing directly from God when it
mhm,
came to leading. Like, I don't hear God audibly telling me, Jajuan, the people are angry. The people are asking for this and they're asking for that. And because
mm,
they're asking for this and they're asking for that, well, I'm gonna throw fire at them. I'm gonna throw fire at them. And then they get fire thrown at them, and stuff happens. That's not happening today. All right. That looks good in numbers,
yeah,
but I've never seen anything like that happen. Even if it did happen, how can I substantiate that this was an act of God? This was an act of God, you
mhm.
know? And so I hear it. Yet I have my reservations about some of those ideologies, you know.
Mm, I hear you. I hear you. Now, here's my last question, and then we'll go into what we have to talk about today.
Yeah.
Do you think that there needs to be a age limit or an age minimum for some of our leaders ship positions? An age minimum for some of our leadership positions.
Do I think that there needs to be an age minimum? I don't know. Um, I don't know. Do you?
Like, I guess the heart of the question is is age a measurement of experience and wisdom, right? Like, is age a measurement or a a consistent measurement of experience and wisdom? And I would say no, right? Because I think that there are some even 40-year-olds, right, that don't operate out of wisdom, um, and don't operate out of experience. They might be very experienced in their in contexts that they might work in and they might be in, but in terms of general wisdom, guidelines, social interactions,
Yeah.
even
It's a good
knowledge,
question.
you know.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. And I don't want to make older people angry by saying, you know, age isn't all that important.
Now,
I mean,
that's not what. That's not what the question is.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The no. Well, to make sure that we aren't alienating people, right? It's like it's not saying that age isn't important. Age obviously is a factor, right, in picking a leader, right? Because
Yes.
it matters. Not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying should there be an age minimum? Like if you're not above, well, obviously 18, 19, right? That's kind of weird. I'm talking about 24 because I'm not sure what the number is right now, but it's definitely not in the 20s, right?
So I mean, I appreciate how the Allegheny East Conference works. Um, they tell us if you want to be hired, you not only have to go to undergrad and get a degree in undergrad, but we also desire for you to have a graduate level degree.
Yeah.
That in that case, if you didn't study theology, if you didn't study ministry in undergrad, you at least study it at the graduate level.
The graduate
I
level.
will say this: I think that like if we didn't have such a strong tie to Andrews, it would be even more credible. And here's the reason why I say this. I say this because of the fact that Andrews was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I also recognize that Andrews didn't teach me how to be a pastor,
Mm.
you know. And I think
Absolutely
that this
true.
is something, dude, and this is something that so many individuals have echoed, that like I can't even say that a lot of people have echoed that Andrews was great. A lot of times, individuals have said that Andrews was a waste of time, especially if you studied theology, religion in undergrad. It felt like you were just regurgitating or rehashing the things that you learned in undergrad, and so it's like taking the same thing but twice now.
Mm.
We learned Hebrew and Greek
Yeah.
and in undergrad, did it again in grad school, learned Christian theology in undergrad,
Mm-hmm.
did it again in grad school, took an Ellen White course in undergrad, did it
Did it
again
again.
in grad school,
Yeah.
and so because of that, I think what we're dealing with is I think naturally you need to make sure that the graduate experience is actually one of quality and not just us having like an extra degree, which feels nice, but it's just like why am I waiting? Why am I really waiting to learn things about leadership?
Mm-hmm.
When I could have learned it there.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what we're missing. Like,
Yeah. If it was if it was more of a vocation, like I know that in the heart of what like an MDiv is, it's would you call it a vocational degree?
I don't really know the difference between a vocational degree and
And
I don't really
academic,
know the
like an MA. Like
yeah.
an MA is different from an MDiv because of the academic things that go into it. I think it's more
Okay.
hours or something like that. Someone can correct me in the comments, by the way. But from what I've gathered from people, like it's supposed to be more of a, a professional degree. It's a professional degree where
Mhm.
it's specified for that profession. So if you're thinking about going into being a pastor, you go and you get an MDiv because it's a professional degree for that profession. If you want to go be a doctor, you go and get an MD, right? Because it's a professional degree for that
Yeah.
specific job. Where like I talked
Yeah.
to my friend that is graduated with his MD, right, and now he's going through like another 4 years of going through
Residency.
yeah, and he gets bedside training. He goes through all the different levels of the different departments that he might work in, even though he's gonna be an anesthesiologist, right? Like he's going through all the different things, and he learns, right? Like I'm not asking for like a rigor in terms of adding an extra 4 years, right? It just hey, like when we're going up there, right? Like a part of the things that he does every single day, going through his degree, is going through what he's going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. Rounds with the patients, talking to patients, making phone calls, talking to his superiors, and going through the different knowledge-based stuff. Like it's like, how come there was
That
never
should
a
probably be
class?
a whole year. because that's
Yeah,
supposed to be our TFE. That's technically our TFE. What you're talking about, like our field school education,
yeah.
when we go and we do certain things with pastors
How,
at their churches,
I'm gonna
and
ask you how many of our friends have actually went on a elders anointing trip on their TFE?
no, not
Like,
not not. I didn't go on an anointing.
I don't
Um,
either.
you know, and but I think the question is, do you necessarily need that for TFE? No,
Yeah,
no,
man.
yeah. I
As a
mean,
part of our
like,
degree program.
because I haven't done like I haven't gone and done any elders anointing anything since I've been pastoring at my church.
Oh wow.
So this is why I'm saying, like, do you have to? Because not necessarily every pastor is going to work that way.
But the exact same. So like, it's not an apples to apples comparison, right, between an MD and an MDiv because one needs a lot more academic and practical knowledge, right, in terms of the body being a doctor. But in terms
Mm,
of getting the job practices and what the day to day might look like and having the tools in the toolkit, right?
yeah,
Like as a pastor, one of the tools that we have in our toolkit is a anointing service that we can do for our members if they request it. I've had to do a couple anointing uh uh in church and outside of church privately for people.
mm.
And the only reason that I was able to get through them is because my lead taught me the different ways to do it, even down to
What
like
church
like
did you?
Mhm.
Where did you intern at Andrews?
Berkeley. So we did
That was the only thing you had to
the
do.
semester away. Yeah. So that counted for TFE, the other thing, uh too. So it was that year and
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's it.
yeah. So
You're right.
l- literally
But
all I'm asking is
mm,
more practical things. Like teach us how to
that
go.
doesn't
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. That doesn't like your age doesn't matter about that. Age doesn't like impact that practice though.
Age doesn't.
No, no. Because going back
You're
to the
right.
original question, you said, do you should you be a certain age? I think that's the
Yeah.
essence. Like, most of the people who go to Andrews for a seminary are old,
Mhm.
like they're 40
Older.
plus.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, older, 40 plus, and we're in the minority. We're, people who are in their 20s. We're like, you'll be hard pressed to find individuals who are there because they have not already been working. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the individuals who go to Andrews are going there as like their second career, or
Mhm.
they switch from one career and going to the next.
Mhm.
And so 40 plus was like the median young age
Yeah.
for new students. And so, like, I don't think, like, the age is not going to tell you or to give you the experience, that
You're
you're
right.
that you're that you're speaking to.
No.
Like, if we're talking about Andrews, like, being a more holistic, experience, I mean, rather than just having a semester, it should probably be 2 years
Right.
of you working in a particular church so that, you can have those various experiences. But like I
I,
said, you like Dr. Peeler is not like every pastor. Like,
right.
he's special. He's
Yeah.
special, man. And
Like
we know that he's special.
look 100% right. Like I can't like that is true. And I was speaking to someone at the airport about it
Highlight
too.
yourself.
Um
Highlight yourself.
wait, what?
Highlight yourself. Take me off camera.
I
The
I got you.
people, the people in
See,
that's not
I did the wrong one. I did the All right. Let me talk to y'all real quick. Look, all I'm saying is that when we as pastors go to the seminary to talk, no, to get our degree, the solo view is freaking me out. All I'm saying is that when we go to the seminary to get our MDiv, is let us get classes on how to, like, not even a full class. I'm talking about give us a class on pastoral ministry basics in terms of when I graduate and I pass that class, I number one know how to run a board meeting. B, I know enough about the church manual to go through it, right, and treat it like a textbook, right? I'm talking about C, when I graduate out of that class, I know enough about how to do nominating committee. I'm talking about the basics of our church structure, right? Like, I think we
So my
mentioned that
question to you,
maybe
my
like
question,
twice. Yeah.
here's my question to you, and you can go back to solo mode. Question: do you think that we should value concentration more than the general MDiv then? Because I think that like the MDiv is just like, all right, you can, here's a wide field, here's a wide net. Go and you take whatever electives you want to take. But if our conferences then begin to say, no, we want you to, yes, have a degree in your MDiv with a concentration in pastoral ministry, I think that would be something that would change the game. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's it. Because most people are taking their MDiv, they're taking their MDiv to go into pastoral ministry, right? So it doesn't make, for me, this is my personal opinion, it doesn't make any sense for us to graduate without having the practical skills of what a pastor might need in a year of being a pastor, right? Like, there's no sense in graduating and then in the course of going through your MDiv, we have never opened up the church manual when that's our textbook, because that's our operating manual for our church. Graduating out of the MDiv, and it sounds like I'm bashing. I'm not bashing, right? Like, I liked my seminary experience. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. I liked it. I made a lot of friends. I got deep into the word, got some resources. But did I graduate with a practical experience? If I did not have the mentor I had to pastor, I don't think it set me up for the best success that I could have had. I think I would have made it through, and I think a lot of us, a, a lot of us make it through. I think because of our talent, we're socially able to go through because some of us are people person. People, we're people, right? So we can talk, and our first elders cover us. But if you don't have that, then, like, I was being honest, it's hard when you graduate without knowing the operating manual of the organization that you're being hired into
Yeah.
as a profession and a vocation, right? Like, there's no, like, what's the point of having that degree if you're not going through and teaching us the operations and how to function within an organization, when that's what that degree is for.
I was going to ask you something, but you kind of sort of took it in a different direction. And it's
What
fine.
what?
I totally forgot what I was going to ask you. Like, because when you said they were getting by talent, I mean, like, yeah, many of us do, you know, because there's definitely, you have to become a particular type of person in order to really thrive as a pastor.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a certain type of person that you have to become, and I've learned that, and I've embraced it.
Mhm.
Yet there are a lot of individuals who don't know how to embrace it because we weren't necessarily taught how to embrace it at that level. You
Yeah.
know, so this is why I said I don't. This is going back to, you know, like, we shouldn't just be so gung ho about you have to go to Andrews. I understand the importance of making sure that you agree with our theology. Um, Yet I also recognize that there might be some other institutions out there that give you better
Mm.
preparation than a seminary, than an Andrews Seminary Adventist seminary can give you.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No,
You know.
I'm with you on that one. By the way, are you breaking up on your side, by the way, or is it just me? Like, your
Oh, it
camera.
must be my camera. Oh, I'm choppy.
Uh, on my end, but if you're not on your end, then it should be fine.
I didn't
It's
think I
better
was
now.
choppy.
It's better now.
I thought you were choppy a little bit on your end
Oh,
earlier. Earlier.
yeah, like a bit. Oh, I think it should be fine. If you're watching this or hearing it and it's a bit choppy, our bads. But I guess I guess because it's being recorded onto the cloud, it should be fine because you'll get both our signals and put it together. So
Okay.
it's all
Yeah.
good.
So,
Um,
so the question, I mean, closing this out, do you think
yeah,
that, you must be a certain age, for this?
I think it should be more merit based. I think there should be a age minimum, but it should not be that high in terms of there. I think it's 32 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think there is an
What?
age. I think it's like 32 or something.
There's
Right?
an age? I I didn't know that. I mean, to
Yeah.
be a senior pastor or to be
No, no, not a
because
senior pastor, like the president of a conference, and
oh, you're talking about president. I thought you were talking about
yeah.
just ministry.
No,
I thought
man. No. I'm talking about uh
I
roles,
wanted
like official
on
roles.
the record, I wanted to be known. I did not know that you were talking about like conference leadership at all. I thought you were talking about like just pastoring in general.
That's all
Like,
me. I thought I was clear when I said uh succession planning, but
I mean, like, but if Abraham Jules is talking about succession planning, like
it
to
could be
pastors, why would he be talking to them about conference leadership when y'all aren't conference? It's not a AEC conference
because
like
because most of the
level.
workshop because most of the workshop n- it can apply to pastoral ministry, but from the perspective that I was listening to it and receiving it, and even like the vocabulary, it was at like, hey, from our
Was a
conference,
conference level,
it was,
so
and
it's
I
more
could
so
be
for conference
wrong.
officials.
It could be wrong, but the questions that were being asked after that were all conference official related or conference processes, and even the words that were used were more like conference stuff. So that's on me for not being
Dude,
clear. But
I honestly thought that you were talking about like
at a local
how
church,
how succession at a local church, or just at any level within our context, not necessarily just the conference office. I mean,
you're
at
right.
that point, it's kind of sort of like why 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 would I go to your session if one, I'm
No, no,
not a
no,
conference official, and then
no,
two, I'm not trying to become a conference official? That's a waste of a session at an
no. So
evangelism
this
council.
session was not for conference officials or not directed for just conference level. It was for
They got
all levels.
pigeonholed there. They got
No,
pigeonholed there though.
it got pigeonholed by the people asking the questions, not by
So
doctors.
essentially, got you. Essentially, they missed the point. The pastors missed the point. Because I'll be very honest. I don't really think that we're good when it comes to succession planning. Like
At the
I don't
local
think we're
church level or just at any level?
at the local church level.
Okay. Yeah,
Like
you're right.
we're not good. I mean, but also like us as pastors, we don't have a say in who comes after us at our church. Like we don't have a say. Like, oh, I think this person should come. Like, you know,
Uh, I I think we're given a opinion. I don't know if it holds much. If you were the lead and you're leaving, I think the lead has an opinion like, hey, this guy or this girl might not be the best fit because of personality and this and that. I think they have an opinion, but it's not a
I
usually.
think I think depending on who the pastor is,
Yeah.
right? And let's say if it's a church our size, right? We got some of the larger, more affluent churches in the conference, right? If you're the senior pastor of a church like ours, naturally you probably should have like some experience where conference officials, I think, should be like, what do you think?
Yeah.
What does this church need?
Hmm.
We're like, as a conference, we're trying to push our churches to go in this direction. You know, who do you think could be a good follow up after you to help us go in that direction? Based on what you know about the church. Because as much as conference officials can desire, like they don't know the church.
Mm.
They don't know the church. They don't know the churches. They're very far. They're too far away from our churches to really know. Like I think Kinlock, he's a conference president, and he knows Metro because he was just
He
pastoring
was just
Metro.
pastoring, yeah.
But like if you're not there,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have a good view. You have a good view of what you're trying to do as a conference, and you can plug a person who you think would fit your vision of the conference.
Yeah.
But I mean, who's to say that? Never mind.
No, I'm with you. Like there's I mean, number one overall, like
Who's
we're
to say your
early.
vision of the conference is where the church is supposed to go?
Oh,
Like our churches are still conservative. We're still bleeding members.
we're gonna end this
Like
episode. I'm joking.
I mean, like we're bleeding. We're bleeding.
You're right. You're right.
We're
You're right.
baptizing people, and like they're not staying, and like we're not increasing our money that we're bringing in, like,
Oh,
and it's kind of
that's where I think I disagree. I think the
look at
numbers
look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers.
they went up over the last 3 years, is what I
Hmm?
saw. They went up over the
Okay.
last 3 years in terms of
See what they look like. See what they look like this year
our finances. Our finances went up over the last 3 years.
at certain churches, because rich people hang around other rich people, or wealthier people tend to want to be around wealthier people.
You're right.
So like,
You're right. You're right. I'm trying to think through.
like,
I don't remember what the growth rate was for some of our areas.
dude,
I'm
like
remembering.
I'm happy that we're bringing in more money.
Yeah.
Thank God. But like, is the money translating? Is the money translating to added value of more people coming to our church? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the people.
It is.
Like, it's all about the people, and the money is supposed to work
For
for the people.
Yeah.
Like, and so if we're not getting more people, what are we
What's
really
the
what are we
point?
really what are we
Yeah.
really doing? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm
So,
with that.
but I feel like me saying that is kind of sort of like the pastors and other religious leaders asking Jules what they asked him. How can, or Jules making the point, how can we ensure that what we are deciding is in alignment with what God is
That's
deciding?
So that was the part where everyone was like asking questions like, why can't we just change the system? Why can't we just change? And then I think I definitely agree
I
with
like our
Jules on
system.
it. I like our system too.
I like our system also because Pastor Kenlock is a conference of is a president of our conference, and I trust him. I trust him. So like I'm chilling.
Okay, so
like,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I like our system because it allows for variance. So even though you might have been the secretary, or you might have been the treasurer, or you might have been the vice president of whatever, right? It does not mean that you automatically become the president, right? Like, I like our system that does
Okay.
not define. It does not define the way that you move up, right? So it's not like it's not defined in the books, right? Of the way it might be culturally defined in terms of like, hey, usually this is what happens, right? But I'm talking about in the bylaws and the way that things work. It is technically open, and our system allows for variances to happen, where if the people get together and think, hey, the pastor over there that just came into our conference has pastored here and pastored there. He has the best wisdom to lead us into where we want the conference to go to right now. And he could just be a local pastor at a church, and he can be elected, go through the process, right? Without saying, oh, well, no, we can't, because this is the way that things work here, is that this person, there is no, they have to become voted into the role.
You just got to be an ordained minister. That you just got to be ordained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I like our system, man. I think it can be approved upon, of course, which is what Jules said as well. Dr. was like, he said,
I don't
I
I don't
like
have
our
a problem with
system.
the
Can there be
conference.
things that can be tweaked? Yeah, but we should not throw the baby away with the bathwater. I think is the idea.
Yeah, I don't think the conference office, at least for the Allegheny East Conference. I can't speak for other conferences.
Yeah,
I've heard negative things about other conferences. You
yeah,
know, some of the things that they go through. So I can't speak for everyone. Allegheny East Conference. Um, I don't think the issue with succession is at that level. I
mm,
think that how we handle things at the conference office level is amazing,
yeah.
right? I think at some of the just like the more local churches, that's really that's the challenge.
That's
And
the
I mean,
issue.
like we as pastors, we talked about this. We talked about succession when we were identifying some of like the contemporary issues that we are facing today. And
Hmm.
I think succession is like one of those. Either who's coming after us or what church are we about to go into,
Yeah.
and does that church necessarily match up with where we believe God is trying to take the Christian church?
Hmm.
Because I mean, I think we all have an understanding of where we think God is trying to take the Adventist church,
Yeah.
or at least in our local context. And we also have our personal desires of where we desire for God to take it. And so, what happens, Elijah, when where you want to go?
Hmm.
Because it's nothing wrong with you wanting a certain thing to go in a certain direction. What happens when you want the church to go in a certain direction, yet your church is like, nah, we're very content with our very conservative way of doing
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
Like our based on our traditions, we love this. Like what do you do?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like,
what are your thoughts?
man, I think that is one of the challenges that the pastor has when you're coming into a church that you're new to. I
Mm,
have obviously never went through that experience because I was hired on as an assistant, right? So my goal is to learn and to support the lead pastor with his vision. So I know that I've heard stories within
mm,
our conference and those outside too, right? From our friends that have pastored around the country, of different ways that churches receive their pastors. And there are some churches that receive their pastors with this line: "Pastor, you're young, but we just need you to preach and visit, and we'll take care of the rest." So
that's
their
crazy. That's crazy.
their roles are clearly defined by the local church. As you're just here to pastor us, and in terms of day to day where the church goes, decisions and things like that, that's up to us. And those are some churches.
Wow.
Those might be harder churches to deal with in terms of getting them out of stagnation, because it's like it's like being being
Boy.
being hired on as a doctor, right? And then your patient's saying, "Hey, you can tell me what I have, but in terms of how I'm going to process my healing, that's up to me," right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Um so like that's on one end, and then on the other end there are churches that are like, "Pastor, we don't know what we're doing. Thank God that you're here to lead us and show us what to do." But the problems and the issues with those churches underneath are that there are no stakeholders. So because it's so loose and there is no vision, there's no one there that gives resources, their time, their effort
Yeah.
into allowing the church to go somewhere. So you kind of have both ends where the stakeholders don't want any change because they're the stakeholders, so they stay in the same place. And on the other end, there's the churches that have no stakeholders, so 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 they stay in the same place. And then both of them end up facing the same thing, where their pastors are frustrated because either they're relied upon to do all the work, or they can't do any work because they're
Restricted.
hamstring, yeah, by doing any work. And that's that's kind of like the two extremes that
Church
that I've
plant.
heard that I've heard.
Plant churches. Plant new churches. That seems like a very popular term these days. Seems like a very popular term. But
But have
Yeah.
some issues with that too, man. But I'm not going to because we're trying to go into some positivity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We definitely didn't go in the direction that we had said we're going to go in for this episode,
Not
but
even a
you
little
know,
bit. Not even a bit. Not even a little. But I can tell everyone that for the next, I guess, 2 episodes, we're gonna
we
go.
we need to stop telling people what we're going to do. Like we still owe them a prophecy talk on and Ellen White.
I think
Like
that we're definitely gonna do it. I think for that one, and I think we're brainstorming with people on here. Oh, well, how about a guest? You know, like I think I'm thinking that episode with Ellen White might need a little guest.
okay,
Um, and we'll see what happens with that one. I know I just threw that out. That's not a promise, y'all. That's just a brainstorming session live in the episode.
such a pastor. Just when you have an idea, you just throw it on the people.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. If y'all are disappointed, it's completely on me and not on Jajuan.
a way to alienate. Oh man. Oh man.
But we
Yeah.
do want to go through our stories though, so that y'all can
Yeah,
learn a little
because
bit more about
there
us.
are people who don't really know that much about us. So,
Yeah,
that'd be good.
yeah.
That'd be real good. So we'll do that. We'll do that next time. We'll do that next time. And I guess we want to say thank you for joining us this time.
Thank
You
you.
know, as we because I think we talked a little bit about our experience at Andrews, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just,
Uh
just a little bit. And I just gotta clarify real quick, man. I had a good time at Andrews.
yeah.
I would go back and retire in Berrien Springs. Um,
God bless you.
I would
God
retire in
bless
Berrien
you.
Springs, man. I don't know
It's
about.
like 20 degrees up there right now.
I love the snow, man. I love the
Praise
snow.
God. You got it. You
I
you
just
got it.
like I love driving my Jeep up there, bro. Like I love turning that thing into snow mode, like hearing the like car changes little thingies, and then just plow right through the road as if there's nothing there, and then getting out doing wheelies, like it was just great.
You 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 got it. Like I support you in it. If you end up doing that one day, great.
I
Great.
I better get a visit, like up in the snow.
Yeah, y'all better make sure y'all visit them. Like y'all better make sure y'all
I'm
visit him
talking to
because
you, not.
y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us for episode number 6 of the Two Young Pastors podcast. Once again, my name's Jajuan Sanders. This guy right here, this silly guy right here is Pastor Elijah Stanley.
Oh
We
man,
are your two young pastors, slowly but surely getting older, and we're growing in ministry, and we just want to encourage you to
man.
continue to grow along with us as we talk about what ministry is like. As we share some of the ups, some of the downs, some of the challenges, some of the struggles, some of the things that we're grappling with as we continue to talk through ministry with you all. And so please, we want to ask that you like
Yeah.
this video, that you share this video,
Mhm,
that you subscribe to our YouTube page that we're posting on, the At the Well YouTube page that we're posting on. And we
mhm.
just want to ask that you continue to join us next time as we get a little bit more into our stories so that
Yeah.
you can get to know us on a deeper level and how and why we are who we are today.
Yes.
So, with that being said, we want to say peace out, and Elijah looks forward to seeing y'all in Berrien when he moves up there during just before retiring. So please comment in the chat that y'all will indeed go and see him, so y'all
Berrien
can
or
do
Florida,
wheelies
man.
together. Um, you know, or Florida. That was a little bit warmer, y'all. It's a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you can go on down there and you can do that indeed. So once again, y'all, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next time. Cue the music.
See
Cue the
ya.
music.
Y'all.
Cue the music.